In the sprawling halls of the Intergalactic Academy, nestled among the stars of the Elysian cluster, tales of Earth's savage creatures were dismissed as myth. Yet, as a group of eager alien students embarked on their field trip to the blue planet, none could predict the deadly encounter that awaited them in the lush, green depths of an Earth forest. When they discovered that Earth's tiniest predators possessed a lethal arsenal, surpassing even the most fearsome beasts of the galaxy, the lesson would become a matter of survival. The sleek starship Galeon shimmered as it prepared for departure from the Academy's orbit. Inside, students from various planets buzzed with excitement, their minds racing with thoughts of Earth's famed biodiversity. The Academy, known for its cutting-edge knowledge and exploration of distant worlds, had organized this trip to introduce its most promising students to the diverse ecosystems of Earth. Among them was Lyra, a Zephyrian with iridescent skin, known for her affinity for nature. With eyes that glimmered like emeralds, she was eager to document her findings about Earth's flora and fauna. "Did you know Earth has over 1 million species of insects?" she exclaimed to her friends, who rolled their eyes in response. "Ha! How dangerous can a bug be?" scoffed Vex, a hulking Acravian with 6 limbs, known for his arrogance and bravado. He had a reputation for being a tough fighter and looked down on anything he considered weak. "We've faced Krellarian war beasts. Insects are just pests." The other students laughed, but Lyra's expression turned serious. "You underestimate them. We should respect all forms of life. Some can be surprisingly deadly." "Relax, Lyra." A petite Oranthe named Zin chimed in, adjusting her glasses. "They're probably harmless. You worry too much." Vex waved her off as the ship blasted into hyperspace, leaving the safety of their academy behind. Upon landing in a lush forest in North America, the students disembarked, instantly overwhelmed by the cacophony of sounds and colors. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the vibrant song of creatures unseen. Towering trees stretched toward the sky, their leaves a kaleidoscope of greens. "This place is alive," Lyra marveled, scanning the horizon. She could see birds flitting from branch to branch and hear the distant rush of water from a nearby stream. "More like it's a jungle," Vex sneered, swinging his arms. "Let's see if we can find something dangerous." Ignoring Lyra's protests, the group split up, eager to explore. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they were unaware that danger lurked in the shadows, disguised as tiny, unassuming beings. As they trekked through the underbrush, Vex led a group toward a bubbling creek. The water shimmered in the dappled sunlight, and the students were enchanted by the beauty of their surroundings. "Look at those colors!" Zin exclaimed, pointing to iridescent butterflies flitting above the water's surface. Suddenly, the serene atmosphere shattered as a swarm of mosquitoes descended upon them, drawn to the warmth of their alien bodies. The creatures buzzed angrily, surrounding the students like a dark cloud. "Get them off!" one student yelled, swatting frantically. Vex roared with laughter. "You think these can harm us?" He stood tall, puffing out his chest as if daring the mosquitoes to approach him. But as the mosquitoes began biting, they released a cocktail of venom into the students' systems. One by one, they staggered, clutching their arms in pain. Lyra rushed to their side, scanning their bodies with her medical device. "They're injecting venom. It's affecting their nervous systems," she shouted, panic rising in her voice. Vex's laughter died in his throat as he realized the severity of the situation. The mosquitoes buzzed angrily, undeterred by their attempts to fend them off. The once jovial atmosphere turned tense as the reality of Earth's creatures began to sink in. "Back to the ship," Lyra commanded, but the mosquitoes continued to swarm. "Don't let them bite," Vex yelled, swatting at the air as he stumbled back. The students formed a line, desperately trying to escape the onslaught. After narrowly escaping the swarm, the students regrouped near a large oak tree, shaken but determined. They looked at each other, their confidence waning. "Did you see those things?" Zine gasped, trying to catch her breath. "They're relentless." "We need to find a safe place to rest," Lyra suggested, her mind racing. "Let's find an open area." As they trekked toward a small clearing filled with wildflowers, a beautiful sight momentarily lifted their spirits. The flowers swayed gently in the breeze, and the warm sun bathed them in golden light. "Let's collect samples here," Lyra said, reaching for her device, but before they could begin, a shadow loomed over them. From the thicket emerged a tarantula, its hairy legs moving with unsettling grace. Its massive form was enough to send a shiver down anyone's spine. Vex, emboldened by his earlier bravado, stepped forward, eager to show off. "Watch this," he boasted, reaching out to touch the creature. But as he did, the spider reared back and struck, sinking its fangs into his arm. Vex howled in pain, the venom coursing through his veins like liquid fire. The other students scrambled back, fear etched across their faces. "Lyra, help him," one called out. "Hold still, Vex," Lyra shouted, rushing to his side. Her device beeped furiously as she analyzed the venom's effects. "It's neurotoxic. We need to counteract it fast." As she worked, the ground around them began to stir. Suddenly, the students were surrounded by a small army of fire ants, their pincers snapping menacingly. Panic erupted, and the students scattered in all directions, trying to escape the relentless bites. "Back to the ship," Lyra shouted, her voice barely cutting through the chaos. But Vex could hardly move, the tarantula's venom paralyzing him. The ants climbed over him, swarming and biting with fierce determination. Lyra glanced back, torn between saving her friend and fleeing. In a moment of clarity, she grabbed Vex and dragged him toward a nearby tree. With the ants in hot pursuit, she used her device to create a sonic barrier, temporarily staving off the relentless attackers. Breathless and terrified, the students reached the safety of the ship's perimeter. They barricaded the entrance, catching their breath as they reassessed their situation. "What's happening? Why are these creatures so aggressive?" Zin panted, eyes wide with disbelief. "They're defending their territory," Lyra explained, wiping sweat from her brow. "We're intruders here. We need to be careful." Vex, still reeling from the bite, grimaced. "I thought Earth was supposed to be a nature paradise, not a death trap." As they sat on the ship, a quiet fear settled in. Lyra decided they needed to regroup and strategize. "We can't let fear stop us. We need to understand what we're dealing with." Zin nodded, her scientific curiosity beginning to resurface. "Maybe we can use this experience to learn about Earth's ecosystems. We should document everything." With newfound resolve, the group decided to document their experiences. They set up cameras, eager to share the lessons learned. As they reviewed the footage of their encounters, they realized how unprepared they had been. Over the next few days, the students adjusted their approach. Instead of reckless exploration, they carefully observed their surroundings. They learned to identify dangerous plants and creatures and to appreciate the beauty and complexity of Earth's ecosystem. Lyra spearheaded their efforts, leading discussions on the importance of biodiversity. Earth's insects play crucial roles in pollination and decomposition. Without them, the entire ecosystem would collapse, she explained. Vex, humbled by his earlier bravado, began to contribute. "Maybe we should create a training module for future students. If they come here, they should know how to defend themselves against these pests." As the students delved deeper into their research, they began to develop a newfound respect for the tiny creatures that had nearly bested them. They collected samples and documented their findings, transforming their fear into knowledge. Just as they began to feel safe, a giant praying mantis emerged from the brush, its enormous eyes locking onto them. This creature was unlike anything they had ever faced in their galaxy. Its body glistened like polished jade, and it stood taller than Lyra. "Get back!" Lyra shouted, sensing its predatory intent. The mantis struck with blinding speed, and in a horrifying display, it lunged at Vex, snatching him in its grasp. The other students stood frozen in shock as Vex struggled against the creature's grip, the reality of their situation crashing down. They had faced the smallest threats before, but this was a whole different level. "Focus! We need to help him," Zin screamed, snapping them out of their stupor. "Lyra, what do we do?" one student asked, panic rising. Lyra's mind raced. "We need to distract it. If we can buy him some time, maybe he can get free." Vex thrashed, but the mantis tightened its grip, its mandibles clicking ominously. Lyra took a deep breath, summoning her courage. "On the count of 3, throw anything you can find to distract it." They gathered rocks, branches, and anything they could grab. 1, 2, 3. The students hurled their makeshift projectiles at the mantis, startling it momentarily. In that precious second, Vex wriggled free, tumbling to the ground. "Run!" he shouted, his voice hoarse. As the students dashed back toward the ship, the mantis regained its focus, pursuing them with startling speed. They dashed through the underbrush, ducking under branches and leaping over fallen logs. Lyra led the way, her heart pounding. They reached the ship just as the mantis lunged forward. With a final burst of energy, Lyra slammed the door shut just in time, the creature's claws scraping against the metal. Panting and trembling, the students huddled inside the ship, their hearts racing from the close call. They exchanged glances, the weight of their experiences settling upon them. "Did we really just survive that?" Zin whispered, still in shock. Vex leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. "I underestimated Earth's creatures. I've never faced anything like that in my life." Lyra nodded, a sense of pride swelling within her. "We did this together. We learned to adapt and respect our surroundings. We didn't just survive, we thrived." As they prepared to leave Earth, the students gathered for one last discussion. They reflected on their journey, their laughter now mingled with respect for the planet's dangers. They vowed to carry the lessons learned into their future explorations. "From now on, we will approach new worlds with humility," Lyra proclaimed. "We will remember that every creature, no matter how small, has a role in the tapestry of life." Upon returning to the Intergalactic Academy, the students eagerly shared their experiences with their peers. They created a comprehensive guide on Earth's dangerous creatures, filled with detailed notes and illustrations. Their story became legendary, a tale of resilience and learning. Their encounters on Earth changed them. They learned that strength comes not only from physical power, but also from understanding and respecting the interconnectedness of all life. As they moved through the academy halls, their heads held high. They knew they would face new challenges ahead. But they also understood that no matter where they ventured in the galaxy, they would carry the lessons of Earth with them. Years later, as Lyra stood on the Academy's observation deck, she gazed out at the stars, reminiscing about her adventure on Earth. She had become a renowned xenobiologist, dedicating her life to studying intergalactic ecosystems. Vex had transformed into a champion of environmental awareness, using his once arrogant persona to advocate for conservation. "Do you remember that mantis?" Vex said, joining her on the deck. "I still have nightmares about it." Lyra chuckled, her heart swelling with pride. "But we conquered our fears, didn't we?" "Yeah, and we'll do it again," he replied, looking out into the vast expanse of space. As they stood together, Lyra felt a surge of hope. They were explorers, but they were also protectors of life, no matter how small. And as they continued their journeys through the stars, they knew that their legacy would inspire future generations to respect and cherish the wonders of the universe.